this shit is crazy. I'm talking shit, man. Yeah, man, I'm just, you know, not to do too much self-reflecting and stuff, but yeah, man, just people in the world are sick. And they don't see how they're mentally ill in whatever capacity. Like, they know they be sick, bro. But it's like people be in such denial with themselves. Or they mind be like in they own mind, in their own world, they be on some high horse, or like they be on some high. And then they want that high to just last. Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And then to everybody else in the world, you like, people will like see like that individual is really like in the lowest of the low, just straight low life energy, to the point Future and The Weeknd made a song about it. I'm rapping for that low life. Like, what? You're telling me you ain't never looked yourself? You ain't never looked at yourself? You just you thought it was gonna be a good song to make, like, to be the low life and broadcast that out into the world for people to also like follow the leader in that timeline and shit. So you get what I'm saying? Like, the world be sick. Really stemming from the people that are the main influence in the world, like the Masons and the Jews and the Masons and shit like that. So like, it's just people never get to the point where they was never like shown, you know what I'm saying? They never seen somebody lead by example, or they never like was shown something, because it's all learned behavior. So they ain't never had the like right thoughts and feelings, the right parents, you know, the right father and mother and shit with they self. Or like I said, they don't be knowing how to observe. Like, they be still thinking they shit. So they never get into that observation. They never get into their space, their spirit, for the lack of words. I hate them words and shit, but spirit is just multiple spaces and shit. So like, everybody got their own space, but then like, spirit is multiple spaces. So that's being aware, like, okay, yeah, you got your own space, but you not just here in a world by yourself. There's other spaces here. It takes teamwork makes the dream work. So, you know, it hurts, man. Like, I done really seen some real shit. Like, I'm really the Canis, like the Canis Major kind of energies and shit like that. The Sirius, you know, the dog constellation, which is just a goddamn some influences and shit. It's not no actual nothing out there, but some influences and water and, you know, waves and shit, fluid influences. So they trying to, you know, they just trying to track certain like waves and cycles with these satellites, and, you know, that whole little, you know, all that NASA shit and all that, the witchcraft that goes into all that. It's deep. But the point on what I'm saying is, like, I guess people just ain't, I don't know, bro. My life has always been interesting. I ain't never had a dull moment in my life. I've always had a life. You know what I'm saying? I always had a life. I was always experiencing some shit. I was always good or bad. Like, and then I was always like able to learn and have the correct people around and shit. Like thankfully my mom was an Aries. You know what I'm saying? And she got a Libra moon, and then like she got a South node in Cancer, and then she got a North node in Capricorn. So my mom she ain't been the most perfect person, but like, really, as people, we don't make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? We might think it's a mistake and shit like that. This is kind of like some Chiron and Aries talk right now, because it's retrograding and shit. So I'll be looking back like we might have thought, no. We might have thought certain things were mistakes, but like, everything makes you who you are today. You know what I'm saying? When you a real individual, you know what I'm saying, with a real like spiritual path to spirituality. So like, a lot of people just be dormant, you know? They ain't had enough experiences, or they might have had certain experiences and then they just stopped growing at a certain point because they didn't push it further. You know what I'm saying? They didn't try to go out the box or try to go change or go see something new or go travel somewhere. All this starts internally though. You gotta have the desire, or the will, I should say. You gotta want to have the certain will to even want to will certain things into your reality. Otherwise, people would just be comfortable, right? Like, okay, they just get familiar with it. They like, all right, this is life. This is what I'm used to. This is just all it's gonna be. When there's so much, there's like life, the existence is vast. You get what I'm saying? So it just, I don't know, it takes, this is just how I've been since before I was 2 years old. When, you know what I'm saying? I'll be looking at, like, in today's time, it's not me judging or knocking nobody, but in a lot of aspects, like, I'll be seeing how certain parents and shit be, like, really sheltering their children. And I'm speaking about myself, because there was a time where, in certain aspects, I might have been sheltered, right? Or coddled, or pandered to, or whatever the case may be. But I be remembering shit like, my mom, I grew up in San Francisco. My mom had me walking, like, I was moving around. We don't really walk, so I was like flying around, but I was, you know what I'm saying? I was moving around at a young age. Maybe that could just be me and my energies, double Cancer, Gemini ascendant, shit like that, and my South Node is Taurus. So, I put my boots on the ground early, you know what I'm saying, in the spiritual sense, on the battlefield and stuff. I had my boots on the ground early. But yeah, I be just noticing how, like, a lot of parents and shit, they got their kid in a stroller. The kid be, like, big enough to move around and shit. They may not be seeing how they actually are stunting the growth of their child and creating that retardedness, I hate to say that, or creating that yeah, like I said, like that non-growth, for the lack of, or instead of progression, it's like they want their kids to degress, right? So that them as a parent and they narcissism, so they don't have to do so much work, or so they don't have to worry as much, or so they don't have to be so responsible, or whatever the fuck, right? As far as how they influence their children, or like, I don't know, certain mentalities like that. I don't even know how to jump into the mentalities. Like I said, my mom was an Aries, Libra moon. My dad was a Gemini. He was wherever he was at in the air and shit. So, like, I grew up around my mom being a leader. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, she was leading the way by default, because she had to, right? That's not necessarily a woman's position to be so masculine like that. The feminine energy is really the divine, you know what I'm saying? It's really supposed to receive more. It's not even supposed to be in the masculine energy like that. That stresses the feminine mind out, and the feminine organs and the bodies and shit. You get what I'm saying? But just being aware of certain shit, like, just in general, right? People will put they child in, like, in a certain, like, they're just trying to control the child, really, and it really be out of a state of, like, just, I guess, they're trying to protect or fear. You get what I'm saying? They don't want their child to be harmed, because then they gonna feel like they harmed, or they didn't do something right. All these correspondences, like, people just be having the wrong starting points. Ultimately, it's all learned behavior, right, by the people running the world, or be sheep-minded people that are just never gonna get it. So they just doing what the fuck, whatever the fuck. But with that being said, I just be looking at myself, not to compare and contrast too much or self-reflect, but I just be looking at myself and then looking at the world. And then I be really noticing, like, you know what? Like, the times that I grew up in and my friends and the generation that I was a part of. I grew up in the 90s. We not like 90s babies and shit. And shout out to Uriel. That's like the 9, like that 9 energy is so far out. You know what I'm saying? That's like a beginning. That's like the end, but also the beginning of something. When we start talking about the 9 and shit and the transition of things. But this is just how I always been. I always been like what, and I didn't really grasp certain shit. Like it was still kind of like I was aware of it, but it was, you know, I was still young. Like my mind was still developing. But now that I'm 29, I'm finna be 30 next year in the summer. Next year, I just turned 29. Just time done sped up. You get what I'm saying? Time done sped up. We got all the phones and shit, computers and shit, apps and stuff. A lot of things that are conveniences have helped us in a lot of ways, but then also created mental crutches in areas and shit that we you know, like just moving around, right? Just moving around, right? You know what I'm saying? People don't realize how they be creating more of a problem for themselves and for their children or whoever. Just anybody, right? People really be in their own worlds for real. They don't really grasp reality in the totality of things. They just be focused on they one little star. You know what I'm saying? Like they one little like space. But I didn't experience a lot. Just me personally, I didn't experience a lot and shit growing up. So like my mind been different. Like how I grew up was like I had to be an adult very early in my life. There was a lot of shit I had to do. Like going to school on my own in certain aspects. That's a very adult thing. And then being mindful about how to just do that. And I just did it like, you know what I'm saying? So I was watching Math Hoffa yesterday, and there was a certain video like they was talking about. I think it was the video with Lil Sean. Shout out to Math. Shout out to New York and shit. Shout out everybody in New York. Oh no, it was Tony. It was a Tony Yayo video. It was a Tony Yayo interview with Vlad. You know what I'm saying? Tony Yayo was saying how because you know Vlad brought it up or whatever, but Tony Yayo was kind of going into like certain shit that would go on in the hood and shit out there, right? Some real like some real, you know what I'm saying? Some real street hood activities or you know certain things. Like bruh said they would put like, you know, if somebody was whatever, they would or they didn't seen, I don't want to speak for like putting nothing on nobody, but he said he didn't seen people get taken down to a basement or something, and niggas would put peanut butter around their feet and their ankles and shit, and then they would just tie them up. And I'm like imagining this while he's explaining. I'm like, damn, right? I can see this like in my head. Niggas being tied up. Niggas put smear, you know what I'm saying? Lather fucking peanut butter on the niggas' toes and shit, and all on his ankles and shit. And then they would just like leave him tied up in the basement or whatever. And then they said the rats would come and get him. And then you just imagine a bunch of rats, like a whole gang of rats, like not just one or two. You know what I'm saying? If y'all, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never been to New York, but I done watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Them rats are big. Them rats could be pretty big. Big ass rats and shit. And then you just imagine like a whole like family's worth of rats. Big ass rats. Not no tiny like mice or nothing. No. Rats. That are straight New York rats coming to eat at the peanut butter and nibble at your toes, and oh my gosh, they would eat your feet probably. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, just thinking about it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But shit like that, right? He was kind of saying like how certain things were just normalized growing, you know, when you grew up in them type of environments and shit, or them influences, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me, pardon me. Yeah, it was fucked up. It's trenchy, you know what I'm saying? I didn't seen some shit too, and just growing up in San Francisco, and there's probably a lot of shit that I don't remember because it probably was. But there was some shit I do remember, like guns going off in broad daylight, niggas getting killed at stop signs right there on the corner of where I'm you know what I'm saying? Niggas getting high and shit. Just broad daylight, niggas is smoking crack pipes and all kind of pipes, and or niggas was outside drinking beers and shit, 40s, and you know, all kind of shit, right? All kind of shit that like a child ain't really supposed to be. I ain't gonna say supposed to or whatever, but the point of what he's saying was should be normalized, and then you once you get out of them situations and shit, you start to realize like that shit is not normal. That was the most unnormal shit. You get what I'm saying? Like people like shitting on the sidewalk, and then just pieces of shit being on the sidewalk, and people just walk by like you don't step in it. Just make sure you don't like. That's not normal. You get it? Like, so even just so with that being said, like my mind has been, I'm dealing with a lot of, I'm going through healing still. Like I'm still not fully healed and recovered, but I'm not mentally ill like certain people in the world. You know what I'm saying? I had enough sense in my own life to come to the conclusion like, okay, this world is fucked up. There's wars and shit. There's niggas in the world that think they could just drop nukes on countries. Wherever they be at, I never met them, but yet they got the ability to blow niggas up and create aftermath, like, you know what I'm saying, the radiation and all that. That fucks up environments for like hundreds and hundreds of years. That changes the environment when you drop a nuke or you drop a, you know what I'm saying? Not to give that too much attention, but that's the reality. Like the Chernobyl situations, you know what I'm saying? All these fallout kind of energies, nuclear power plants. I know we just had the goddamn, remember that earthquake that happened out there in Japan and shit? They was fucked. They're still dealing with that. They recovered quite quickly, but like who's just, I'm never gonna go to Japan and just trust the food out there, because I don't want to say never, but you get what I'm saying? It's like, it's hard to go to, it's just keeping that in mind, like, bruh, they got they whole world is contaminated. Like the ocean contaminated, like, and then that shit comes to here. You know what I'm saying? The water comes out here. So it's like we all been fucked. We all been like kind of fucked up in the head to some degree. In our bodies and shit. Like ramen noodles. You get what I'm saying? I used to eat ramen noodles like religiously. I'm not the only one. Like ramen noodles was like, that was a main fucking thing to eat. You know what I'm saying? Even chow mein at like a Chinese restaurant. Like the ramen noodles though. Maruchan and ramen noodles. Or ramen noodles. However you want to say it. Ramen noodles. However the fuck you want to say it. I just seen a video like a couple months ago. Whatever it was. Last month or the month before that. That shit is literally like black. Like some black shit. That is not even really, like, they make that shit in a fucking warehouse and like on some laboratory shit. There's a whole goddamn, they got a whole step by step. Then you get the ramen, then you get the packaged brown looking, that shit starts out looking like tar, like straight tar. That's how you know we, like, this world is hell, like it's Tartarus for real. Because niggas at some point thought it was okay to like sell you like tar cigarettes and tar noodles and tartar sauce. You get what I'm saying? And Tarzan, the movie about Tarzan, and like come on. But yeah, man, the world's sick, man. Y'all be cool out here, man. It's ain't like no friendly ass place and stuff. But I'm grateful for the experiences I've had. My mom is literally like a cross. You know what I'm saying? She done been through a whole bunch of experiences that I've yet to be, all kind of stories and shit that she's yet to even express to me, because that's her business, right? But she's literally a cross. She Aries, springtime, and then she got the South Node in Cancer, which is the area. You know what I'm saying? That was me. I popped out of her downstairs area. Then she got the Libra moon, and then she got a North Node in Capricorn. So I didn't have my own, and then my Earth side is Capricorn, and I got Capricorn in my 8th house. So certain things, just her being on her spiritual path at certain points, you know what I'm saying, without her really being aware of it. I didn't experience transformations and shit. Uranus, I got a Uranus in my 8th house with Neptune, so but just that 8th house energy of me having Capricorn there, anything when I get into businesses and shit, it's like, bro, when we start talking about business, not just like work and money and stuff, but just people's business, your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want everybody in my business. Therefore, I got, you know what I'm saying? I got that right there. And then I got a little, you know what I'm saying? It's a Saturday, so like, I'm trying to keep my business to myself. You know what I'm saying? It don't got nothing to do with, like, there's certain people that I only, you know what I'm saying? What's in my 8th house is in my 8th house. There's certain things that it's my business. Yeah, it's my business. Not everybody needs to know your business. There's certain things that they'll use your business, your company. You know what I'm saying? How you stabilize your life, and how you practicalize shit, and how you initiate certain thoughts when it comes to the earth element, that Capricorn shit. How you know what I'm saying? Your blueprints. You know what I'm saying? Your goddamn your architectures and shit. Your makeup. There's certain thing about just me having a body and stuff. Certain people, it's not their business. It's not their business. But I didn't experience tower moments and shit. There was a time in my life in high school where, like, my mom had bought a house. She didn't know that the mortgage people or whoever that she was, doing business with, they did like a faulty, and this happened to a lot of people, because that was back in the 2008 shit with the Obama and the recession and all that. A lot of people lost their homes and shit at the time, nationwide and shit. But we ended up losing our house that my mom had bought back in 2004 when I first moved to a town called whatever, you know what I'm saying, in Northern California and shit. But we had a house and shit for 4 years. 4 years. That's not that long. It was cool. My mom put money into the house. She, you know what I'm saying, she tried to make everything homey and stuff and comfortable for everybody and shit like that, and it was. We had got a dog at some point. Some normal shit, right? For the most part, people got dreams and desires and shit. We was trying to have some type of normal shit. You get what I'm saying?